Good morning. Welcome to Mantra 108, where we're working our way through chanting 21 days of the Pūrṇa mantra. And today is our day number 11. So we're through our first week and halfway through our second week of our mantra practice. So we've been talking about the 8 stages of mantra meditation as taught to me by my teacher, Anandra George. And so today I wanted to shift gears a little bit since we've gone through the full 8 stages. I want to talk to you about the difference between mantra japa, repetition of the mantra, and good morning, Corinne, and ajapa, which in this case means without. So japa, mantra japa is repetition, repeating or remembering the mantra regularly. Ajapa is without repetition. So what does that mean? Well, we've been moving through repetition of the mantra to move through those 8 stages of mantra meditation, to take us from a busy, active mind and to take us, thank you, dear, and to take us to a place where the mantra replaces our junk thoughts and opens us to a more full, more creative, more conscious part of our existence, of our experience. So this little piece is from Swami Yaneswara Bharati, and he talks us through the difference between japa and ajapa. I don't think we have to go into too much definition of japa, mantra japa, because we've been talking about it all the way. But what does ajapa mean in reference to our mantra? So I'm just going to read a little bit from this couple of pages, and it will talk to us about japa and how that develops for us. Good morning, Sylvie. So, japa means repeating or remembering the mantra. Japa means constant awareness of the mantra. Ajapa is the practice of japa without mental effort, the mental effort that is normally needed to repeat the mantra. So we do use some mental effort as we're working through our repetition of the mantra. Because we're remembering the mantra, we're speaking the mantra out loud. But ajapa is the practice of japa without the mental effort normally needed to repeat the mantra. In other words, it has begun to come naturally to us, turning into a constant awareness. And this is what we have to look forward to, is this constant awareness of the mantra, the practice of constant remembrance. And it evolves in stages, so I'm going to read that to you now. The first stage we've already been going through. We're repeating the mantra out loud. This allows the mantra to become really well established within us. So we're repeating the mantra out loud, and then we start to intentionally repeat the syllables of the mantra internally. And I talked about that a little bit earlier, encouraging you to use your mantra when you're out and about, when you are feeling maybe the stressors of your busy day, when you're maybe in line at the grocery store and wondering if anybody else has COVID and might be infecting you. I mean, you know, there are all kinds of things that come up for us that make it a good situation, other than sitting in our daily practice, to practice our mantra. And now we can start to chant it internally. So rather than speaking out loud, Pūrṇam Ādāya, Pūrṇam Idaṁ, Pūrṇāt, we speak it internally. It becomes an internal dialogue for ourselves that then we attach to, and it replaces the junk thoughts that we've talked about. So we start to repeat the syllables of the mantra internally, as if we are talking to ourselves in our mind. We allow the inner sound to come at whatever speed feels comfortable to the mind. So sometimes it's very slow. It's as if the mind were wading through a vat of honey. Now we repeat our mantra here pretty quickly because we have a lot of repetitions to get through in the time that we've allotted ourselves. But when we're doing it internally, it might come very slowly for you. At other times, it might be very fast, as if we're flying through the sky without restraint, the Swami says. So that's the second step. And then the third step is that with practice, the mantra japa is repeated automatically. And this is a very sweet place in our practice. I love that place in our practice. Good morning, Erin. Nice to have you with us this morning. So, mantra japa is repeated automatically, like a song that you've heard many times, which just comes into your brain and into your mind on its own. But then gradually, you merely remember the mantra with attention drawn to it. It's more like noticing what is already happening rather than causing it to happen. It is somewhat like the attention stance of listening rather than speaking. Though you might not literally hear the sound, you hear this echo of the mantra coming to you. And then the next step is that in time, the feeling of the mantra is there. Even when the sound or the remembering of the syllables is not there. For example, sometimes people will say, Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Many of us know that mantra, where the word Shanti means peace or tranquility. During the remembering of the word, there may be two things: the word and the feeling of peace or tranquility. When the symbols fade away, the feeling may still be there. This is remembrance of the feeling of the mantra. So when we're talking about specifically this Pūrna mantra, we're talking about wholeness, completeness, fullness, knowing that even if something is taken away from that fullness, the fullness still remains. So we're not only, when we drop into japa, we're not only remembering the syllables, we're not only remembering the sound of the mantra, but we're remembering, we're falling into the feeling, the emotion of this feeling of fullness, of completeness, of wholeness. And then finally, as the practice evolves, there comes a pervasive awareness of the mantra, subtler than both the syllables and any surface level meaning or definition. This constant awareness is the meaning of japa japa, of the mantra. It just becomes this constant awareness for us. So this is something that, another thing that you have to look forward in sustaining a mantra practice. Now, before we get started, I want to say one more thing to you. I talked about this when we did our Asatoma practice, our 21 days of that practice, and that is that I recommend this little book. This little book is called the Pūrṇam Handbook. It's written by Idaṁ, who was my first mantra teacher way back in the 70s. And this is a beautiful little handbook. You can see it's not very big. It's very, just like all of Eswaran's teachings. This little handbook is very readable, very understandable to the Western mind, very attainable. It's just a beautiful teaching about all of the different aspects of a mantra practice. So I highly recommend this book, and it will go into even more detail and more explanation of Japa. He speaks of it as Anahata. Anahata is the unstruck sound. It's the sound, that internal sound that dives beyond the depths of this surface mantra practice. So now we'll start our practice for today. And so let's do just a little bit of opening of the jaw. Make a few circles with your hands right around in this TMJ area, this place where the temporal area meets the mandible of the jaw. It's that opening place of the jaw. So go ahead and open, move your jaw around a little bit. I always like to remind us that these Sanskrit syllables are a little foreign to our mouth. Come down onto your neck now and just work your way up and down through these scalene muscles on the side. Yeah, so these Sanskrit syllables are foreign to us. Our mouth is not used to making sounds. So we like to open up the jaw, open up the scalenes to be ready for our practice. And then just roll your shoulders a little bit. Let's tip the head to one side or the other and roll around. Loosen up all of the areas in the neck that might be tight this morning. I know, speaking for myself, and this might be common to all of us or many of us, that even though we feel like we're protecting ourselves, that we've got our routines down now, and so we're not carrying a lot of stress about this viral tsunami we're living through. It could be that there's underlying stress that isn't at the surface and we're not quite aware of. So sometimes when we do our morning practice here, or when I do my yogasana practice, my physical yoga practice, I notice, whoa, I'm carrying a little more stress than I thought I was carrying. It's important that we recognize that. And of course, our mantra practice helps us through a lot of that. So I will turn up the volume on our Gampura. And we'll take our mala beads and we'll do our mantra japa. our repetition of the mantra. Taking an inhale, releasing it, dropping the shoulders down away from the ears, yet pressing through the crown to make yourself just a little taller in your practice this morning. Bring your awareness to your muscles and your skin and just let them soften. Let the heart soften into the practice. And we begin. Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Adaḥ Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Adaḥ Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Adaḥ Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Adaḥ Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Adaḥ Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Adaḥ Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Adaḥ Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Adaḥ Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Adaḥ Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Adaḥ Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Adaḥ Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Adaḥ Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Adaḥ Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Adaḥ Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Adaḥ Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Adaḥ Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇamada Pūrṇamidam Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Purnamadaya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnāt Pūrṇam Udacyate. Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Idaṁ Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam Udacyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādāya Pūrṇam Evā Vaśiṣyate Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sit for a moment in the silence of your sound vibration. That brings us to the end of our practice today. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:30 for day number 12. And tomorrow we'll talk about observing the contrast between ordinary consciousness and mantric consciousness. Have a wonderful day.